Well, good afternoon. It's February the 5th, 2021, and this is the Georgia Link weekly virtual update report, and we're glad to have an opportunity to report to you today. I'm Boyd Pettit, and I've got with me Trip Martin. A couple of weeks ago, you had a chance to see our partners Lauren Freilich and John Bozeman present to you a report. Last week, we had our partners Skin Edge and Jay Roberts present a report to you. So Trip and I are excited to bring a report to you this week.
Great. Thank you. As we near the end of, I guess what we call Groundhog Week, I'm not sure it's unanimous among groundhoggers across the country whether or not they all saw the shadow. But the written format of our Friday report you're used to, this virtual version is now new. We're enjoying doing it. We'd like to get comments from y'all as clients if there's a benefit to you. Also, what we'd like to get as soon as we can is some feedback to our client profiles that are for each of you customized, showing the bills we're monitoring on your behalf, the ones we think of importance or even declared hot, and feedback from you so we can customize that even better, so it's more meaningful for you and we can spend our energies really focusing on those issues of most interest to each of you.
We also are proud of our intern program here at Georgia Link. Trip and I put together an intern program a number of years ago. John, Skin, now Lauren, and Jay are part of working with us as we have interns. And we're proud this year to have 3 interns with us. We're going to give each of them an opportunity to introduce themselves and to say a couple of words to you while they're working with us for the 2021 session. So now we'll turn it over to the interns.
Hi, my name's Alexis Voss. I graduated from the University of Georgia with a bachelor's degree in political science and international affairs, and also graduated in May of 2020. I am also the floater intern for Georgia Link Public Affairs Group, and I'll be so happy to be working with y'all for this session. Thank you.
Hey, I'm Mary Alex Carter. I graduated from Valdosta State University this past December with a major in political science and a minor in art. I am focusing on the House for this session, so if you have any House-specific questions, I will be able to answer them. Please do not hesitate to reach out.
Hey, I'm Alex Flack. I just graduated from Georgia Tech with my master's in international affairs. I'll be covering the Senate this session, and I'm thrilled to answer any questions you might have during the session. And feel free to pop us an email at intern@georgialink.com.
We hope you'll get to know these fine young people and will enjoy them as much as we have and encourage them in their future endeavors as we are doing. We next want to give you a short COVID update if we can. You may have seen, but on Wednesday of this week, Governor Kemp announced that 1 million Georgians had now received a vaccine. We're glad to see that these doses are making their way into the arms of Georgia citizens. We certainly understand the frustration that Governor Kemp has felt with trying to get a more robust supply into the state. I think the new numbers are about 146,000 doses per week coming in. We could certainly use more, but we want to congratulate Governor Kemp, thank him for his efforts in connection with this, also his leadership through this pandemic as we work with him too with his legislative priorities. And we certainly reach out and remember not only Governor Kemp, but Marty and the girls as they've all been through this difficult time with the pandemic.
This week, we've had a pretty active calendar in terms of supporting different events at the legislature. On Monday, Georgia Link sponsored the House Democratic Caucus, their first meeting of that caucus this session. On Tuesday, we sponsored the Women's Legislative Caucus. That group has grown, I think by their numbers, I believe was 5 more women in the Women's Caucus. So that's encouraging to see that growth. And then today, this is Thursday when we're taping, we were able to sponsor the Working Families Luncheon. So we've had a pretty active week in that regard.
Well, thank you, Trip. Let's talk about a few updates with regard to some legislation that we're following this year. First, let me mention House Bill 80, which is the supplemental 2021 budget. It has cleared the House. It was heard by budget subcommittees in the Senate both Friday of last week and Monday of this week. And then on Thursday of this week, the full Senate Appropriations Committee approved their version of the budget, and it will now go to the floor of the Senate in all likelihood either Monday or Tuesday of next week. Another important feature in this year's legislative session is House Bill 112 by Representative Trey Kelly. It is the COVID liability bill, and as many of you will recall, it had a sunset date provision in it for July of 2021 for claims made up through that time. There is a new bill, House Bill 112, that extends that sunset for 1 year until July the 14th, 2022. And Tripp, I'll let you speak to a couple of bills.
A couple of other pieces of legislation getting a lot of attention. One in particular is House Bill 86 by Representative Ron Stevens of Savannah. Representative Stevens is chairman of the Economic Development Committee, and he introduced a bill on sports betting. That bill was heard in his Economic Development Committee this week and was passed out of committee. There is some controversy, obviously, around that bill, whether or not it will require a constitutional amendment or just be a piece of legislation, which only requires a majority of the vote in the legislature. So that'll be interesting to watch as it develops, but it now is in the House Rules Committee, awaiting to be put on the floor. Also, another bill of interest is House Bill 150 by Representative Bruce Williamson. It addresses prohibition of cities and counties limiting fuel choice in their jurisdictions. Some of us would obviously like to see the flexibility for the use of natural gas or propane as a consideration in those jurisdictions as well. So that bill will get a lot of attention.
And just a couple of other items we'd like to mention to you this afternoon. Senate Bill 1 by Senator Dean Burke. You heard some about it last week on our virtual report. You will also see another summary in this week's written report. Deals with the all payer claims database, which captures ERISA plans, private company plans, and requires that they report certain data to this database. That bill was heard in Senate Finance Committee earlier this week. No vote was taken. I know that Senator Burke is working with both the proponents and the opponents of that piece of legislation, and I expect to see it back in front of the Senate Finance Committee sometime next week. Last piece of legislation I want to mention is Senate Bill 52, by a cybersecurity bill by Senator Bruce Thompson. It provides a legal safe harbor for companies that take action in order to protect their data. They take certain precautions, and if they take those precautions and can show that, then they've got a legal safe harbor. That bill's in the Senate Science and Technology Committee, and again, I expect to see it receive a vote on the full floor of the Senate next week. It's got a large Senate sponsorship already on the bill, and I think we will see it move.
As to the schedule, the legislature is in recess until Monday. We'll be back Monday for the 13th legislative day. The House is coming back at 1 o'clock on Monday. I'm not sure the time yet on the Senate.
I believe it's 10 o'clock on Monday for the Senate.
Okay. One other, and then after that, they're expected to take to work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but all that may change. There's not an agreement yet with the House and the Senate on exactly what days they'll be meeting next week. One other item of interest we want to bring to your attention, there is a special election next Tuesday, House District 90 in DeKalb and Rockdale counties. A number of folks are in that race. One person in particular who's gotten the Georgia Chamber of Commerce endorsement is former State Representative Stan Watson. So watch for the results of that race. One other item I'd like to just bring to your attention. We always talk about how important the budget is. There is no doubt that the supplemental budget and the full budget are the two most important pieces of legislation every year in every session. This year, because of the pandemic and economic situations, it's a very difficult process. But there has been a lot of work done by a lot of people in appropriations committees, the chairman and the budget staff of the House and the Senate and the governor's office, to try to move these budgets forward. I will tell you, for example, Representative England is the chairman of House Appropriations. When the supplemental bill budget got out, the next morning at 6:30 in the morning, the Senate was already having budget hearings on that supplemental budget. These people, part-time legislators with families and businesses back home they've got to tend to, are expending an extraordinary amount of time getting these budgets moving. We spend a lot of time asking people up here for favors or to get things done with the legislation. It may be worth all of our time to drop a little note in our Friday report. You'll see boards included the emails for Chairmans Tillery and England. Maybe drop these folks a note and thank them again and tell them to thank their staffs and the members of their respective committees for all the work they're doing on getting these budgets moving.
That's a real good point. We certainly appreciate their dedication as well as many members of the General Assembly. Let me close by just saying a word of thanks to our clients. We appreciate having the opportunity to represent you and represent your interests at the Georgia State Capitol. We're very proud of that opportunity and grateful for it. And at the very end, let me just say, have a wonderful weekend and a great Super Bowl Sunday, regardless of who you're pulling for.
Go
Have a good
Bucks.